With the roster for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 looking very likely that it will break 50 characters once we have all our downloadable content characters, one of the hardest aspects of the game is actually deciding which character to play, which character to rank up and include as part of your core team. Now, thankfully at this channel I have quite an obsessive compulsion in regards to documenting characters for Marvel video games. If you followed the channel before, I started off with beginner's guides in Marvel Heroes Omega, and then I moved to in-depth reviews on Marvel Strike Force. Now for Ultimate Alliance 3, I'm happy to say we've got the first beginner's guide, and this one will be of course for Captain America. Now in this video, to give you a good idea of how he plays and let you know if you will have a playstyle that will actually suit you, what we'll cover firstly is we'll have a look at his overview and his stats. We'll check out his abilities and we'll talk about which ones you want to use and in what situations you'll use them. We'll have a look at the top 10 team bonuses. We'll check out the synergy attack guide, and this is his skills, which tags these have and which synergy attacks they can actually produce. We'll then look at the best ice weight you can equip on him, and we'll also talk about build options in there as well. Like, do you want to build him as a brawler or do you want to build him tanky? I will cover all of that. We'll then have a look at his alternative costume. Because that's unlocked via an Infinity Trial, I'll actually talk you through that as well. And then we'll finish up with a summary and some end game gameplay as well. So without further ado, let's jump in, and we'll start off with the overview, and this also includes the stats as well. Cap then I would say is the closest we have to a protector or a support class in the game. When we look at his abilities, he's got 4 in total. 2 of them are actual combat abilities. One of them is one of the best defensive moves in the game, and one of them is the best buffs in the game as well, but we'll talk about them in a lot more detail when we get to the abilities section. Now when we look at his hero traits, he has element. Now what that means, if you pair him up with the likes of Hawkeye or Thor, they can add elements when they attack to their allies, but the ally needs to have a weapon of some sort, and Captain America's got a shield, so you can, for example, set the shield on fire, or you can set electricity on it as well. It looks pretty amazing, but it also means you've got the chance of actually casting the effects tied to that. So for fire, for example, you've got a chance of applying burning to characters when you do hit them, so that's really nice there. Now when we look at his stats, thankfully due to the way the little chart here is laid out, you can get a good idea visually where his strengths lie. In regards to his strength is one of his strengths. You've got his vitality, which is definitely on the higher side, and that helps him out when we actually look at the builds we'll be using later on. Mastery's on the lower side, but it's not relevant because he's not doing attacks that use ethereal or energy. Resilience is certainly very nice. Durability comes in higher, so that means that he'll take very little damage from the likes of melee and piercing attacks. And then finally his energy is on the lower side, but when we talk about build options, the way that I actually play him, the fact that he's got a low energy pool doesn't actually affect me at all there. So that's the general overview. Let's have a look at his abilities now in more detail. First ability we look at here is Shield Dash. Now this one is used really to get the stagger gauge down on enemies. If you look at the stagger rating, you can actually see it's up at an A, whereas the damage is down at a C. So if you're running a brawler build on Captain America and you don't have any other characters in your team that are good at staggering the enemy, then you can certainly use this skill. But I will mention there's far better options out there for staggering the enemy than Captain America. That's not one of his strengths, even though we do have the A rating here. So this is Shield Dash. Let's check out the next ability. This next ability is probably the strongest defensive ability in the game. With this you're able to block all incoming damage, and you can actually reflect some damage types as well. Now fully maxed out at level 100, you can actually maintain this shield for up to close to a minute, which is absolutely amazing. With the shield as well, there's lots of characters that can synergise with it. The likes of Iron Man can fire off his repulsor beams off it, and it can just absolutely decimate the enemy, whilst at the same time Captain America's not taking any damage. With this as well, we do have certain Infinity Trials where you can't take any damage, and that's just for the primary character that you're controlling. So an easy option to do is simply go into an Infinity Trial and just throw up this shield and let your other characters and synergies take the enemy down. So that's a little tip there, but absolutely awesome skill, this one. The next skill we have here is Shield Strike, where Cap throws out his shield and it bounces between enemies. The damage rating in this is B, and it can actually do decent damage, but as mentioned earlier on in the video, I don't really run Cap as a damage dealer at all, and that's something we will talk about a lot more later on in the video. So this is a decent skill, but personally not one that I use a lot. If you're running a brawler build, of course you will be using this more often. So earlier on we looked at one of the best defensive abilities in the game, and with this skill, Cap's got one of the best offensive abilities in the game. This is called Super Soldier. Now this is a buff for all your teammates and Cap. It's a 20% damage buff, which is really pretty substantial, and when this is maxed out as well, it actually lasts for 30 seconds. Now you can see on Cap at the moment there's a red aura coming up from the ground around him, so that is the actual buff, so you can know when it's no longer applying to your teammates, and if you're not playing Cap you can quickly switch back to him and activate this skill. But this alongside the absolute defense just makes Cap absolutely amazing from a support perspective. So that's all the abilities. He certainly does really well there. The combat ones personally I don't use as much, but the support ones, as mentioned, are absolutely amazing. Now next up we're going to have a look at the top 10 team bonuses. This particular section here, we're able to break this down thanks to Reddit user Nebulous Journeyman. He created an Excel spreadsheet program that actually calculated all the team bonuses in the game, and I think there was something around about 11,000, which is really pretty crazy. Now we've got the top 10 listed here. Some of the bonuses you can get, and you can see are really pretty high when we add them all up. But one thing I'll mention before I talk about the top bonus is just the fact that yes, the bonuses on this are nice, but I wouldn't feel in any way that you're forced into running these particular teams, because the bonuses you can get through other means. You can get through the likes of ISO 8, so do feel free to build teams as you like, but if you want to benefit from team bonuses, these are setups that can actually work. Now we'll just look at the top one. I'm not going to list these all off, but the top one and the best one you can get for Cap would be to pair him up with Electra, Psylocke and also Wolverine. That would give you a total of 21% in bonuses, and that would actually break down as a huge 12% coming from strength, 2% from mastery, 6% from vitality, that would work really nice in Cap, and then finally 1% on energy as well. And the lowest one we've got in the top 10 here is still at a pretty whopping 17%, so you can see that you can get decent bonuses there, but once again, don't feel that you're forced to run these characters in any way. Now what we're going to check out for the next section will actually be the synergy attacks and the abilities that tie in with them. We have another section in the video here then that is possible thanks to another Reddit user. This time it was Grand Picron. He created a spreadsheet that was able to catalogue all the different synergy attack combinations in the game and how many characters have them and what characters synergise a lot with other characters as well. Now if we look at Cap anyway, he's got 3 skills that can actually generate synergy attacks. The first one is Shield Strike. That's classed as a charge skill, so from this you can get a shockwave or a catalyst attack. You then have Super Soldier. This is his buff. It can generate an attack. It's classed as launch, so you can actually get a shockwave, surge or calamity attack, and I find this is one that's really easy to get synergy attacks with, so just bear that in mind if you're looking to run an Infinity Trial where you need to get synergy attack damage. Finally you have the skill he's using at the moment. Actually it's absolute defense, so this particular one here, this would be classed as safeguard, and it gives you shockwave, reflect and ricochet. The strongest one, I'm not actually sure if it's reflect or ricochet, but I think it's probably ricochet. This is the one where other characters can fire their projectile attacks off your shield and it can do an insane amount of damage. Paint him up with the likes of Deadpool, Spider, Iron Man, and just watch the other team or watch bosses melt when you actually do this. Now when we look at the top characters in regards to the number of synergies you can actually generate with Cap, this is similar to the last section in that it can be useful for when you're running synergy attack, Infinity Trials, but I wouldn't feel forced into using these characters at all. But the top 5 for Cap that would be nice and easy to do synergy attacks with would be Venom, Wolverine, Iron Fist, Elsa and Thor. They're all round about 7 to 9 attacks there. You then have the bottom 5, and some of these have 0 synergies with Cap. So it's Nightcrawler, Scarlet Witch, Thanos, Rocket and Groot, and then finally Spider-Man, although Spider-Man has that barrage attack that can reflect off the shield, and that can be really nice as mentioned. So that's all the synergy attacks. Next up we're going to look at the section you've probably been waiting for. This is the build options and the best ISO 8 to use for them. This section here then is probably the one I'm looking forward to covering the most, because I do like playing around with different hero builds. Now with Cap, as we kind of touched on earlier on in the video, you can build him as a protector support class, or you can build him as a brawler. Now the one that I would say is the best option for him would be the protector support. This is where you switch to him every 30 seconds, you activate the buff, and then you switch over to another character and do damage with that buff. If you're getting an unavoidable attack, then you switch back to Cap and you can use the shield so that you don't take any damage from it. Now when we look at ISO 8 that would work well here, the first and probably the most important one, and I do have these listed in order of priority, is increased likelihood of being targeted by enemy by 44.5%. So this one, when you're not playing as Cap, it will mean enemies will actually be drawn towards them, so it makes them a proper tank. You've also got increased damage resistance by 15.5%, so that would be to all damage, which is absolutely huge. We then have gives 3.4% hit point recovery every 10 seconds, which is nice for keeping him topped up if he's taking all that aggro. You also have increased vitality by 9.8%. This can tie in nice with the actual health regen as well. And then finally, this is one that I wouldn't necessarily put in the top 4, but if you're struggling and you've got it, you don't have others, you can use it. Because he's got such high durability, you can go for the double A that increases durability by 13.7%. So that'll give you a really tanky build on him. Now, if you want to go for the brawler side of things, then this is what you would go for. You would have the 2 combat skills you'd be using the majority of the time, although you can still reflect some damage, and that can do decent as well. But the ISO 8 you would be looking for would be increased damage done to enemies by 16.5%, so that's flat to everything. You then have increased the damage of melee attacks by 19.2%. That's relevant because Cap's 2 combat abilities have the melee tag on them there, and that allows you to get higher damage than just the flat overall damage of 16.5. Always look out for that. Now we then have increased the crit hit chance of melee attacks by 11.11, and it's higher because it is melee only, but it applies to these 2 combat skills. And then the last 2 I would say that you could use but they're not priorities would be increased crit hit chance by a flat 8% or increased strength by 13.7% there. So that's all the ISO 8 and the build options available. What we're going to check out next, and we're getting towards the end of the video, next up we're going to have a look at the alternative costume and his solo infinity trial. In this section here I'll give you some tips I used to pass this and freestyle it myself, and I'm also wearing the costume that you unlock. You can see that costume up the top right as well there. But the first tip I would give is use your heavy attacks when the Ultron bots are near the edge, because you can see there you can actually knock them off the edge, and it means you don't have to take their entire health bar down. You've then got the fact that you can only take a set amount of damage if you want to freestyle this mission, so just make sure you have your shield ability available and ready to block, and this block on it can actually reflect damage and do a lot of damage to the Ultron bots as well. But this is a very early level on Infinity Trial, so you can just brute force your way through it, but using the tactics and the gameplay I'm showing off here, you should be able to freestyle it no problem. Now with that covered, let's finish off and see overall summary for Cap and where I would place him if I was to have anything such as a tier list. So as you can probably tell from this video, Cap is an exceptionally strong character. I've already mentioned the fact he's got one of the best defensive and offensive skills in the game. He's just incredible from a support perspective. Now, with this being the first beginner's guide I've actually covered, I don't have any kind of tier list, and I'm not sure if it's something I'm actually going to introduce into these videos at all, because I feel that all characters in the game, with the difficulty in the game, can actually be competitive, and I wouldn't want to get bogged too down into which tier characters are and put anyone off playing a particular character. But if I was to have a tier list with all that in mind, Cap without a doubt would be at the top of it. He is an absolutely amazing character, and he is a whole lot of fun to play. I love the whole tanking perspective that he brings to the group as well. So as mentioned, this is the first beginner's guide that we've actually done, so if you've got any suggestions in regards to the format or characters you would like to see covered in future, do let me know in the comments below. And if you actually enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment to help drive engagement, and feel free to share it as well, because if this series is popular, I will of course try and do as many characters, if not all the characters in the game. But as always, thanks for tuning in. Hope the video's been helpful, and I'll see you all again soon.